Okay, guys. So, welcome to our ingredient edit, all about new biome. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name's Larry. I like to do research. I like to look into things, take things apart, dig in. That's kind of been one of my passions ever since I was little. I've been on a wellness journey now, oh my gosh, for as long as I can remember. I've always been interested in building muscle and how does the body work and all those different things. So if I can proclaim myself a self-proclaimed wellness and health junkie, that is going to be my own personal title. But my motto is we only got one body, so we got to take care of it. So why not look into the different things, what we're eating, what we're putting into our body, because we do only have one body. So uh, to kick us off, I'm going to share a little bit about gut health, just because it is such a broad topic and gut health impacts so many different things. Maybe you'll learn something new. Hopefully, you learn something new. As I was doing my deep dive into gut health, a year and a half, 2 years ago, it kind of blew me away how many different systems are impacted by having good or poor gut health. So when you think about your gut health, you think like, oh, it's my stomach. But at the end of the day, it's better to think of it almost as a second brain. So it's your immune system command center. It regulates your mood. It helps with helps with your metabolism. So like right there, we're like, okay, there's a lot of different bodily processes. If your gut is off, everything ends up being off at the end of the day. So for quick gut health 101, forget everything you ever learned about your gut. This isn't just about regularity or going to the bathroom. It's much more than just that. At the end of the day, though, poop matters. So we're going to talk a little bit about regularity and what happens when you do have a good gut machine going. Um, First thing you think about probably is digestion and nutrient absorption. So food today has about 20 to 40% less nutrient density than it had about 50 years ago. So what does that mean? It means you can be eating the same food that your grandparents ate, getting a lot less of the nutrients that they got from that same food. Your gut health, having a strong gut microbiome, increases the absorption and helps with your digestion, meaning you're going to be able to benefit from those nutrients that are still available in the fruits and veggies, kind of tilting the curve just a little bit. Um, Next is immunity. So over 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. And that for me was like, whoa, okay. Because when you think immunity, oh, my immune system's down. It's like vitamin C. You're thinking about those kind of things. You don't always think about gut health. Um, the good gut bacteria, they're basically your mini microscopic army. So they take out the trash before it takes you out. On top of that, mental health. So anxiety, mood swings, foggy brain, those are all things that are linked to having poor gut health. There's been multiple studies shown that illustrate that above and beyond. And it's kind of crazy because like I said, you don't think gut health, oh, my mental health, but it really does make a big difference. It helps regulate your mood. Um, Chronic disease risks. So a bad gut raises the risk of everything from IBS to diabetes to certain cancers. Weight and cravings. So bad gut typically means you have an abundance of bad gut bacteria, and that causes you to crave sugar. So having that sweet tooth isn't necessarily like a genetic thing, or I had my dinner, so I need something sweet. Having those almost impossible to overcome sweet tooth cravings could be an imbalance in your gut bacteria. Um, that's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg, but I wanted to give you guys a brief little thing just so you can see immunity, your digestion, your mental health, cravings, weight loss. It's so many different areas gut health impacts. Um, and then what can we do to improve our gut health? So we hear prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. So some of you might know a little bit more about. I'm going to go over each of the three really quickly, just so you know what fits into the different categories and how they benefit your gut health. So prebiotics are kind of like the fertilizer. This is the things that feed your good gut bacteria. So uh, think of things that are plant-based fibers. So fruits and veggies. So think bananas, spinach, apples, asparagus. They're the slow magic with the long-term power to really help your gut flora survive. Studies show that 14 grams of, or let me try that again. A 14-day study showed 30 grams of inulin, which is a type of prebiotic fiber. It reduced reward center activity towards junk food. So it almost rewires that cravings like we were talking about before. There was a 12-week study that showed sharper cognitive performance over a placebo. A meta review showed a lower BMI, lower cholesterol, and better gut diversity. And then polysaccharides and resistant starch fed beneficial bacteria improved glucose tolerance. That means they saw a reduction in inflammation, a better support of colon health, and these are just from these prebiotic fibers. So, like I said, plant-based fibers, think your fruits and your veggies. That's going to feed your good gut bacteria. Probiotics are probably what you heard most often and probably know the most about. Probiotics are actual live bacteria. So these guys are typically found in like fermented foods. So you want to think like sauerkraut, kimchi, Greek yogurt, kefir, aged cheeses, kombucha, those kind of tart, tangy, vinegary things that we associate uh, with that flavor palette. And uh, probiotics are a great thing to include in your diet, in my opinion. It's really hard to get a probiotic supplement from point A to point B where it needs to be in your gut because your stomach acid can kill up to 90% of those bacteria. So at that point, I say eat the foods that you like, get the probiotics that way versus spending money on a probiotic supplement that might not actually be getting to where it needs to be. I don't know about you guys, but things are expensive nowadays. So I'd rather get the bigger bang for my buck and focus where I want to focus for that bigger bang. Postbiotics. So this is kind of like the mic drop moment in the trio. You probably haven't heard a ton about them. They're not widely out there. You really have to go and dig to try to find supplements that are postbiotic. And these are the byproducts of having a good gut bacteria microbiome. So when you have a good gut microbiome, this would be like the offshoot, the benefits that you get from having the good microbiome. They're anti-inflammatory, they're immune boosting, they help boost your metabolism. Some interesting trials that I found, they saw a significant waist decrease and visceral fat drop over 12 weeks when they introduced postbiotics, a reduction in blood pressure and oxidative stress, aka an antioxidant boost. So the more antioxidants typically means better overall protection for your body. It improved insulin sensitivity, which is what you want. When you become resistant with insulin, that's when you get into the diabetes territory. You want your body to react when you introduce sugar into your body. Less inflammation and a boost in regulatory T cells and immune markers. And this is all just from the postbiotics. Um, Icing on the cake, the prebiotics and the postbiotics are in our little guy's new biome, our gut drink. For all the reasons that I just stated, prebiotics feed your good gut bacteria to get them to where they need to be. The postbiotic is almost like you had a good gut microbiome, so you get all the benefits. And then the probiotics, I do that with my diet and I focus on my fermented foods, my sauerkraut. I like kombucha, kefir, all the fun, trendy foods and things like that. Um, just because that's what works best for my body. Um, Bonus power ingredient in our new biome is chromium. So chromium has tons of research on it. It's great at regulating blood sugar. It helps insulin work smarter, not harder. So that means it gets sugar to where it needs to be used, which is in your muscles versus transporting it to somewhere where it's deposited as fat. Chromium helps your cells actually use the fuel that you intake into your body. So the foods that you eat means more steady energy and less fog, less crash, less cravings, and more overall energy. And studies have shown long-term use of chromium, people see more lean muscle mass and less fat, which I think is everyone's goal at that point, a little bit of a recomposition. So, what about the results for new biome? Because we have done scientific studies on new biome to see how people's bodies react to that. In just 4 weeks of using new biome once a day, 64% less abdominal discomfort when, because I don't know about you guys, but when your gut's not happy, you're not happy. A 55% drop in bloating, 65% reduction in bloating frequency, and with a single one-time use, the average was a zero point 0.9 inch average waist drop just from taking it once. And I can tell you guys, my husband and I do lawns over the summer. We're out and about, not always eating the best food, and I can literally see a difference. I actually have photos I'll have to share of my midsection before new biome and after new biome because it makes such a big difference in the bloating, especially when you do have those saltier foods and you go out for pizza and things like that. You want to get rid of that extra. Um, like I said, nobody's happy when your tummy's upset with you, when it's bloated and you feel sluggish and just full. I don't even know how you guys know what I'm talking about. It's just not a
Mhm.
fun feeling. And I'm a guy. I know ladies have a whole nother level of that. So I'm very grateful that I don't have to go through that. Um, but with that, don't take my word for it, Amy. I want you to share just a little bit about how you use New Biome, what you like, what you see.
Okay, yeah. So I will say I was never like I never really paid attention to like how I reacted after I ate or like what I felt after I ate, I guess. So I didn't even realize anything was like could have been improved upon, right? Because you just get used to feeling a certain way. There was nothing crazy, so I just kind of accepted it as normal. But now, so once I started taking new biome, um, I noticed that I get full, like I get full easier, or like I it's just like I feel different after I eat. I feel satisfied instead of like, oh, I ate too much. It's like my body is communicating with me better, if that makes sense. Um, and I also did not realize that it was that people were supposed to go number two every day. Like it was just normal for me not to. Um, I didn't think anything was wrong with it because I just it's not like I mean, I was bloated, but it wasn't, you hear all these horror stories of what happens, but I had never had anything that extreme. And so I just accepted it. And then once I started taking new biome on a regular basis, I noticed that I felt better, but I didn't realize the change until um I can't remember. I think I went out of town for the weekend and I was still relatively new to new skin and new biome and just kind of figuring out the supplement game. And I didn't bring any with. And I noticed, I was like, whoa, okay, so this is what I used to feel like. Like I felt uncomfortable after I ate. Um, I am like, well, how do people wear normal clothes when they eat? Because it was just like I just felt uncomfortable in my skin. Um, I was really gassy and I didn't realize that I was before, or maybe I did, but like it's just like because my body had gotten a taste of this is how things are supposed to work and absorb and all the things. And then when I didn't do it for a few days, it was like my body showed me, do you want to go back to this? Um, and so I just noticed it just really helped me actually change my even my relationship with food because of how I just felt better and it wasn't miserable. I just yeah. So I carry it everywhere with me now. It's so fun because people will be like, "Oh, I have a stomach ache," or "Oh my gosh," after that meal, and I'll be like, "Oh, this is better than a Tums. Here you go." And so it really does feel that immediate too. Like sometimes um like I usually have one after lunch. Um, and then if I have a bigger dinner, then I'll have like the non-caffeinated one after that. And it really does work better than Tums. I never use Tums anymore. I used to carry Tums with me everywhere, and I don't. And it's just um yeah, I don't have those kinds of issues. So it's really been game changing. Um, and my nephew has um irritable bowel syndrome. And because of that, he has a lot of accidents. And so, things like this that are so simple. It's not like medicine. It doesn't feel like medicine, which is tough for kids too. And it's been cool to see just kind of this being able to help him too in different ways. So yeah, it's crazy how much we ignore our bodies when it's giving us signals.
Yep, nope. I think you nailed it though when you said you just thought that was normal. For the
Hmm.
longest time, that was kind of my experience. I was like, well, I just feel sluggish and icky after I eat my food,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is.
Hmm.
It really isn't normal. And the same
Right.
thing with the bowel movements, that mine was feast or famine, either
Hmm.
lots or none.
Hmm.
And that's not comfortable either at all. So, um, uh, couple more math things that are number things that I didn't share with you guys. So
Hmm.
going along with what you said, Amy, so 75% said it calmed their bloating within that first use. So when you said like you didn't realize until you stopped taking it, it's like
Mhm.
it was working. This is what it does. And
Mhm.
it's one of my staples too. I went to Florida for a week and I packed my bag and I brought my caffeine and my caffeine free and I'm good to go. I do a whole shaker cup with like
Mhm.
25 ounces of water just because it helps me get more fluid in. You can follow the directions and just do 8 to 10 ounces, but it's nice and convenient. Grab and go, drop it in there, and you're good. So I think with all that, at the end of the day, you got to make the decision, is your gut running the show, or at the end of the day, are you in charge of how you feel, the bloating, that uncomfortable, sluggish feeling after you eat? And this could be the tool that you need to start that turning point to work on your gut health.
Mhm.
Introduce some more fresh fruits and veggies, introduce some beans and things like that. And
Mhm.
then you take this with your pre and postbiotics, and you're kind of starting the wheel in the right direction to be able to take back control over your gut health, which impacts so much your immune system, your digestion, your
Mhm.
metabolism, your mood, just some things to keep in mind. Um, Becca, was there anything that we didn't bring up? Because I know you also love your new biome.
So a couple things. One that I think is funny, and maybe it's just because I'm a Midwest girl, like for me, that what it was, the same thing, you didn't know that there was anything wrong, but I realized after using it for a while, I call it the oofta feeling, like when you bend over to pick something up. That's a very Minnesota word, oofta, but that's what that feeling was, and it was gone. And it's like, oh, the other thing is the other feeling it was a 8 month pregnant feeling, but I'm not. That's
Mhm.
gone. But the fun thing that I noticed, and this was maybe a couple months after I started using it, and my husband got a cold, and I thought, oh crap, I'm going to get sick. Then the kids are going to get sick. I didn't get sick. I couldn't believe it. And so it took me a minute to like, you're expecting it and it's not happening and it's not happening. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've been taking care of my gut health, you know? It's not to say that I don't ever get sick, but it's not to the extreme that
Yeah.
people I'm around are sick. It's so much less.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's really nice.
Thank you for sharing.
When you said oofta, I'm from Wisconsin, Becca.
Oh,
So
you know that word. You know that
I know
feeling.
what oofta means. It's like unbutton
Yeah.
your pants so that you can
Larry's just like, what are
sit
these
down on the
Midwest
couch.
girls talking about?
I get it. I get it. Your East Coast friend understands. Um, so with that, I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Becca and Amy, thanks for sharing your personal testimony and why you love the product. I would say reach out to the affiliate that sent you this video within 24 hours to let them know if you have any questions, you need more information, or what you think. And then we're going to be starting back up next Thursday with Life Pack, which is one of my favorite supplements. It's not as exciting as gut health, but it's super duper important. So hopefully we see you guys here next week for another ingredient edit. Otherwise, enjoy your week and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Thank
Good night.
you.